Hi, Jenny here! In a previous video I mentioned how my neighbor had given me a giant zucchini, so now I'm coming up with recipes to make with that. I've already made a zucchini breakfast casserole, and today we are going to make a cranberry lemon zucchini bread. So let's get started! For this recipe we are going to need 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of lemon zest, 1 cup shredded zucchini, 1 cup of dried cranberries, half a cup of butter softened, 3 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of lemon juice, and half a cup of milk. We will start by mixing together some of our dry ingredients. So we had that 2 cups of flour, and then our teaspoon of baking powder. I always have to make sure when I'm doing baking powder and baking soda of which is which. We want to sift these together. So what I like to do is do a little bit of flour and then put in my baking powder, baking soda, and salt in that, and so that way I feel like it gets mixed in there better. So that, half a teaspoon of this. Alright. And then we'll add 1 more cup of flour. This should make the bread nice and fluffy. I haven't sifted in a while. When I was a child growing up, my mom was teaching me how to bake. She had me sift everything. These days, in reality, I guess you can buy already sifted flour in the store. So, but usually I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever, you know, do I really need to sift it? But what the heck, we'll do it today just because. Okay. And then to this, we are going to add that 1 teaspoon of lemon zest. So I went ahead, put this out of the way. Behind there? No. Okay. I went ahead and zested a large lemon already, so the zest, about half of a lemon came up with that 1 tablespoon of zest. And then for the juice, because we need some lemon juice for wet portions of the recipe, and the one lemon came up with just a little bit more than the 1/3 of a cup. So I decided to put that in one of my juicing jars. Being acidic and all that, I wanted it to be in glass and not in one of my plastic containers or that. Okay, we're also going to fold in our zucchini. I also went ahead and I shredded the zucchini because I was keeping it overnight. I did this yesterday. I put a piece of paper towel in the bottom of here so that it would help soak up some of the extra moisture. So we'll get as much of that in there as we can. Alright. And then also we're going to divide up our cranberries. We will use 3/4 of a cup now, and then we'll use that other 1/4 of a cup to put on top of the bread right before we bake it. And we'll just mix this all together. Just a cup of cranberries. Get everything well coated. And then we'll go ahead with our wet ingredients. Now we will go ahead and beat our butter and sugar together. So we'll get that nice and mixed up. So we'll go for about a minute or two just to make sure it's well mixed. Well, that was interesting. I didn't think to record it, but as it was going, it kind of balled up into a hunk of butter, kind of like a dough ball. And then as it kept going, then it spread out and it's getting all nice and fluffy. So we'll go ahead and wipe down the beaters. So again, all the batter will be able to be well incorporated in our next steps. So there is our butter and sugar. Go ahead and wipe down the sides. So again, everything is going to be well mixed together. All right, we'll go ahead and add our eggs. See if I can not get shells in here this time. Oh. I suppose I really should crack them in a bowl. Can't even see what I'm doing. Worry about the eggs and I don't think about where my hand is for the camera. I have not gotten to the point of being able to crack them one-handed. I don't have that skill. Okay, now we will go ahead and beat those until they're well incorporated in there. I'll bring you over so I can show you all this good stuff. So you can't hear me talking in there. I think I'm going to wipe that down again anyways. We will now add our lemon juice. Sometimes when you add lemon juice to batter, it kind of curdles things up a little bit. But in the end it will all get mixed in as it keeps going. So we are going to add our lemon juice and then we will slowly add our flour mixture in and the milk like a little bit at a time. So we'll add like half the flour mixture, half the milk, again half the flour, half the milk. So again I will start with kind of getting this. All ready for that. No, it won't drop off. Now I can show you. I didn't want anything dripping off. If you could see that or not. Ah, it's kind of liquidy in there. Ooh. Defeats the purpose of my having just wiped it down. Anyways, I'll bring the camera over and show you as I'm adding the ingredients. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And in a loaf pan, we will spray it with some nonstick spray. I have my misto here with some olive oil spray in it. Give it a good coating. And then we will go ahead pour this in. All right, make sure we have all of that yummy goodness. I'm already looking forward to eating it. Looks good. And got that little bit of extra lemony color to it. All right, and then with that extra 1/4 cup of dried cranberries, we'll go ahead and sprinkle those on the top. Usually then they stay on the top and they just help make it look pretty. And obviously when you're eating it, you get that nice extra cranberry taste. I'll try to separate them a little bit, have them one by one. Sometimes they stick together and you get a big hunk. I think I put a little bit more than a 1/4 cup in here. This is like a good summer bread, having that lemon in there. You're always getting some extra fruit in when you can, right? If it's dried, the dried cranberries. This could be a good bread for that, for the holidays too. There we go, oven is ready. Put some of my smaller ones on here. I think it's a little overloaded. Oh well. I like cranberries. One more small one? Sure. That seems a little overdone, but you know, that's okay. Now we'll go ahead and put this in our oven and bake it for 50 to 60 minutes, and we will stick a toothpick in the middle to make sure it's coming out dry. Oven has beeped. Let's check it out. I started with 50 minutes. Interesting. Flat. Didn't poof up. I was thinking like banana bread always poofs up and you have the... Oh, a little stiff though. Stiff going in, clean coming out. Oh yeah. So we'll go ahead and let this cool for about 10 minutes and then we will flop it onto our cooling rack and let it cool a little bit more. Because I had so much zucchini, I decided to make 2 breads. So one of them I'm going to give to my mechanics. They just called, the car is ready, we're gonna go pick it up. But I wanted to just show you a little trick. If you don't know, I didn't know. Normally when I bake bread and to try to get something out of it, even if I spray it, sometimes it doesn't come out real nicely. And I was hoping that it wouldn't stick to the bottom. Thank goodness it didn't. But usually I just take a knife and I went along the edges like that, and it still didn't come out. So sometimes I go in on the edge and then I press a little bit. So I'm pressing in to try to help release the bottom. And that kind of didn't really work. So then what I did was I got one of my real thin spatulas And I did that. I went along the edge and I pressed down and I scooched it in and I pressed down and I kind of released it that way, and then it came out really nicely. So I have to remember that hack. Or the other thing is, I've also seen where people use parchment paper in their pan. So it's gonna be cool enough. I did let it sit for 15. But in any case, I have never tried that before in a bread pan. I've tried parchment paper in I've done it like in a brownie type pan. But, so let's try this. What I did was, again, on the back of the pan, I put the pan upside down and I laid the parchment paper over it. And then I used a scissors and I cut in to where these 2 points would be. And then I flipped it over, and when I put the parchment paper in, it sat nicely, and then the other 2 ends just kind of folded in behind. So you can kind of see where these two ends folded in behind. So this should hopefully just lift right out. Oh yeah. Dun dun dun. So if I open this up, you can see where I cut the 2 points. Hopefully I'm in. How far is my camera going? But yeah, you can see where I cut these 2 points, and then this folded in, and then this end folded behind, and this end folded behind. So that's real nice. And then this, obviously, one, it's easy to lift out of the pan. You don't have to worry about using a knife or a spatula to release it. And this is falling right off the bread. So I can let that cool just a little bit more before I cut and taste this one, and I need to wrap that one up. The cranberry lemon zucchini bread is finished. It looks really yummy. Like I said, anything lemon, you just gotta make it. So yeah, still a tad warm. As I said, I made 2 loaves, so we're gonna take one to the mechanic. So let's go ahead and taste this before my husband gets home. Then we have to run out. Wow. Having all that fresh lemon in there, the fresh lemon zest and the fresh lemon juice, it's very lemony. That is really good. I figured I would like this, that's why I wanted to make one for us, besides giving one away. But anyways, that's really good. I was gonna get some vegetables in there. You hide the zucchini. I don't even see the zucchini in here, so you get some zucchini in you. Speaking of which, let me grab, I forgot to get this out before I was filming, but even after all that, I still have this much zucchini left. So it's still like a half. In my monthly grocery flyer, it did have 2 more zucchini recipes in there, so I will probably try those. I think I should still have enough time. Zucchini still looks good. It's not spoiling or anything yet. Yeah. But other than that, what else I was thinking? When you're making the recipe, if you also wanted to add, I was thinking like, oh, walnuts would go really nicely in this. I was thinking chocolate chips, but now that I've tasted it, I don't think I would add chocolate. I think that would kind of either take away from the taste, add either more sweetness or whatever. This is really good just the way it is. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I will leave it down below. Let me know what kind of recipes you like to make with zucchini. Do you like zucchini? Do you like lemon bread? I know a lot of you like lemon stuff too, just like me. So I'm going to go enjoy a little bit of the snack while I wrap up the other bread. You guys keep it positive. Go make it a great day. Bye-bye.